Do we need a stablecoin? Is stablecoin necessary for the digital economy to work? Then, what characteristics does a stablecoin need to have? Does a stablecoin have to be stable after all? Today, I want to talk about stablecoin, the hottest potato in the crypto scene right now, the one who must not be named these days. For the digital economy based on blockchain and digital currency to grow, stablecoin is essential. I'm here to tell you why and what characteristics a stablecoin needs to have. Of course, I want to explain how Wemix3 will meet all the qualifications of stablecoin on Wemix3.0 mainnet. And I'll share our vision of how stablecoin will be scalable and be the key currency in the digital blockchain economy. Hello, my name is Chang, CEO of Wemade. I'm very honored to stand here with you at the center of a paradigm shift and share my vision and strategy on the digital blockchain economy based on the stablecoin. In January of 2018, Wemade established a small spin-off company with just 2 people to develop a blockchain and blockchain games. Eventually, last year, in August 2021, we finally launched the game Wemade Global. Wemade Global is the most successful and most sustainable blockchain game ever in the world. This is the fact. In less than a year, more than 20 million users have joined, and monthly active users exceeded 7 million, with more than 1.4 million peak concurrent users. In-game revenue exceeded $160 million, and Wemade Global stayed at the top of the grossing chart in the Philippines, Brazil, Singapore, even UK, Sweden, and Belgium. As of now, more than 2 million users are playing every month. Its revenue touched the bottom, and it's rebounding again. It's truly sustainable. Wemade Global was a big hit. It naturally led to success of the game tokens and NFTs and DeFis. Draco, the token of Wemade Global, was one of the most traded game token in the world last year, and even now, during crypto winter, trade of Draco remains robust. In the early 2022, when Wemade Global was at its peak, we had a strange experience. Nobody could answer the question, what's the price of Draco right now, straight away? Game tokens, including Draco, are traded on Wemix DEX. Wemix DEX uses our native coin Wemix as a medium of exchange. Since the price of Wemix itself is volatile, it was almost impossible to tell what's the price of Draco at a certain point of time. You need a calculator to find our Draco's worth in US dollar or Korean won. We realized it was impossible to know the exact price and communicate intuitively from the basic tokens and NFTs to the more complicated DeFi. And this issue was not only about Wemade Global, Wemix, and blockchain gaming. Not only DeFi, but for any economy to develop, the economic activity within it must be intuitive. If no one can answer this simple question, how much is that NFT? Could that economy spread and become active? Think about the situation saying it's 0.0135 Ether or 0.00867 Bitcoin. When the prices of Ether and Bitcoin fluctuates constantly, these answers will just create chaos for almost everyone. So we need a stable coin. A blockchain economy without a stable coin can be no more than a cult. In order to be used and survive in the mainstream, services will need to have stable coins. So, what requirements does a stable coin need to have? What makes a stablecoin successful? I'll give you my answers. First of all, stablecoins must be stable. It's one of the topologies, but since we've seen stablecoins that are not stable, this is the first requirement. I will call it stability, but you might as well call it security. I mean safety, not as in securities. Securities is another, the one who must not be named in our industry these days. By the way, what does it mean if you say a certain currency is stable? Is US dollar stable? Is the Russian ruble stable? What about Singapore dollar or Korean won? Stability doesn't mean non-volatility. Just look at fiat currencies. Every currency keeps fluctuating, not just currency of developing countries, but also currencies of developed countries. In my opinion, the essence of stability lies in these factors. Whether the currency is actually used, it is holding up its value, and you can get its worth if you have that currency. So, if a stablecoin is pegged to US dollar, the issuer must hold the coin's worth in USD in reserve to declare that the coin is stable. Because only that it can be exchanged for US dollar in any cases. If issued stablecoin exceeds the issued US dollar reserve, the stablecoin cannot be exchanged for US dollar and it cannot keep up with the value it claims. So the stablecoin becomes unstable and it no longer is a stablecoin. This is true theoretically, and we've seen it in the real world the past few months. So the first requirement of a stablecoin is it must be stable. It must have the exact same amount of reserve for the fiat currency it is pegged to. If not, it should not be called a stablecoin in the first place. Regulations by many governments follow this logic, but it's not just for the regulations. It needs to be that way if the digital blockchain economy is to grow healthily and sustainably. If the medium of exchange and unit of account is unstable, the economy cannot function or grow sustainably. Wemix dollar, our own stablecoin, will be issued 100% reserved by USDC. Every Wemix dollar issued is matched exactly to each USDC. If there are 100 million Wemix dollars issued out there, it means exactly 100 million USDC are reserved. 100 million USDC is exactly 100 million US dollar, so 100 million Wemix dollar means 100 million US dollar reserved. It means you don't need to trust Wemade or Wemix platforms. Anybody can check anytime the quantity of issued Wemix dollar and reserved USDC on-chain. And the two statistics will always match block by block. This is why we chose the USDC 100% reserve model. You don't need to trust Wemade or Wemix to check out Wemix dollar's reserve. It's trustless. Stablecoins must be stable. This is the first requirement. Wemix dollar meets that through 100% USDC reserve. But this doesn't mean that this is a sufficient requirement for a successful stablecoin. One for a lab, when we announced 100% USDC reserve policy a few months ago, some community and media reacted. Why don't you just use USDC instead of 100% USDC reserved Wemix dollar? They are not 100% wrong. To contribute to the enhancement of the Wemix ecosystem, Wemix dollar has to meet another requirement. A digital blockchain economy has its own native coin that represents the economy and ecosystem. For Wemix 3.0, Wemix is the native coin and Wemix dollar is the stable coin. On Wemix 3.0, the Wemix dollar will be used as a key currency in every trade. The native coin Wemix has been the unit of account and medium of exchange. But now the Wemix dollar will be used then it's only natural to ask what will happen to Wemix, the native coin. As a second requirement of a successful stablecoin, I want to pick stable, native, reflexivity. When a stablecoin is doing well, it should affect the native coin. The native coin must be able to capture the demand and trade of stablecoin. Thus, the reflexible relationship between stablecoin and native coin must be structured. When the demand for Wemix dollar increases, the value of Wemix should rise. It would lead to the expansion of the Wemix ecosystem, which will increase the demand for Wemix dollar. When the volume of trade using Wemix dollar increases, it will bring up the Wemix value that in turn will expand the Wemix ecosystem, and it will increase the volume of trade using Wemix dollar. This reflexive mechanism must be secured, so success and growth of the stable coin can lead to the success and growth of the native coin. So I think stable, native reflexivity is the second requirement of a successful stablecoin. A portion of every fee generated by Wemix dollar trade and Wemix dollar-based trade will be allocated to the Wemix holder community. Specifically, we plan to create a staking program and continue to distribute a certain portion of the Wemix dollar fees created in the Wemix ecosystem to the staking program. The increase in Wemix dollar trading volume due to the expansion of the Wemix ecosystem leads to an increase in value for Wemix holders. Depending on how qualitative and quantitative the Wemix ecosystem grows, the benefits for Wemix holders will increase and the value of Wemix will increase accordingly. The trade volume of stablecoin will truly reflect the size of healthiness of the ecosystem, and it will determine the value of the native coin. That is how an integral economic system will be built. Our blockchain scene can no longer grow with unreliable vision, illusion, fiction, rumor, and fantasy. A stable growth based on the reality and pricing of digital currency, which reflects the fundamentals, are needed. The creation of the digital blockchain economy will be possible only through a healthy stablecoin, and a healthy stablecoin must be stable while structuring a reflexible relationship with native coins. In terms of structure, I think the two conditions that I mentioned earlier make a good stablecoin. But for the ecosystem to grow even more, the size of the stablecoin must grow accordingly. Therefore, I want to point out the scalability is the third condition. If we can only raise $100 million in reserve, the issuance of a stablecoin is also limited to $100 million. If the system is only designed like this, the ecosystem won't be able to grow because the supply of money can't keep up with the scale of the ecosystem. If the economy runs well with $100 million, the stablecoin worth $100 million would be enough. But if the economy needs $1 billion, then we also need a stablecoin worth $1 billion. To solve this problem, we created DIOS, D-I-O-S, a protocol for issuing and burning the stablecoin. I told you earlier that stable coins must be stable, but the word stable here doesn't mean that the price should be fixed at $1. But rather, the value must be secure enough to be exchanged for $1. So this condition isn't based on a fixed exchange rate, but on a 100% US dollar reserve method. In the case of Wemix dollar, it's on 100% USDC reserve method. In other words, the price of Wemix dollar will be determined by the demand and supply of Wemix dollar, just like other products. Of course, since it's a stable coin, the fluctuation may be smaller compared to native coins, but nevertheless, the change in price due to demand and supply is inevitable. Then, when will the price of Wemix dollar increase? When will people want to buy a Wemix dollar for more than $1? For example, a good DeFi service that uses Wemix dollar or the demand for tokens and NFTs used in some blockchain games on the Wemix chain may increase the demand of Wemix dollar. Anyway, the increase in demand of Wemix dollar will expand the Wemix ecosystem, and if it's naturally determined by the demand and supply in the market, we can say that the demand of Wemix dollar that reflects the ecosystem exceeds the supply of Wemix dollar currently. Issuing additional Wemix dollar by leveraging excess demand is the key to the DOS protocol. Let me give you one example. For some reason, the utility of Wemix dollar in the ecosystem increased and the demand for Wemix dollar also increased. In this case, the Wemix dollar will be traded at more than $1. Technically, for example, the price of Wemix dollar will become 1.1 USDC in the Wemix dollar USDC swap pool, not 1 USDC. Then the DOS protocol activates and issues one additional Wemix dollar, exchange it for 1.1 USDC in DEX, and puts 1 USDC in the reserve to match the quantity of USDC in reserve and Wemix dollar. And it puts the surplus of 0.1 USDC back in reserve and issues additional 0.1 Wemix dollar. Did you follow everything I said? This issued an additional 1.1 Wemix dollar, and the Wemix ecosystem grew at the same amount. USDC reserve also increased by $1.1, just like the Wemix dollar, so stability didn't change even the slightest bit. The increase in demand for Wemix dollar from the expansion of the Wemix ecosystem will also increase the issuance of Wemix dollar. This natural mechanism will allow us to issue additional Wemix dollar appropriate to the size of the ecosystem without additional dollars input. In short, it's scaled up. If the ecosystem increases and the demand for Wemix dollar increases, the issuance of Wemix dollar also increases. This allows the ecosystem to grow sustainably, and this is essentially different from the growth of imaginary numbers. DOS fluctuates the issuance of Wemix dollar according to the economy of ecosystem, thus making Wemix dollar sustainably scalable. The ecosystem will grow appropriate to the size of the economy. Do you remember the second requirement of the stablecoins? Yes, that's stable native reflexivity. I said that success and growth of a stablecoin must be connected to the native coin. I said a few minutes ago that I would give the Wemix holder community a certain share of the Wemix dollar fee, and in order to do this, we will run a staking program. This staking program is called DOS staking. Many of you may have noticed from the name, and that's right. The surplus of Wemix dollar that this DOS protocol creates will be given as staking reward. In the example above, when the Wemix dollar was 1.1 USDC, there was a surplus of 0.1 Wemix dollar. This surplus of Wemix dollar will be the basic reward of the DOS staking. Basically, as the Wemix ecosystem grows, the demand of Wemix dollar will also grow, thus issuing additional Wemix dollar to keep up with the demand. The surplus of Wemix dollar that the protocol creates during the whole process will be given to the Wemix holder community through the DOS staking. In order for the digital blockchain economy to operate and become successful, stablecoins are essential. And 3 requirements are needed to create a successful stablecoin, which are stability, stable native reflexivity, and scalability. And I shared how the Wemix dollar will satisfy these 3 requirements. Wemix dollar will be successful, and I'm sure of it. It will also become a dominant stablecoin along with USDC. We will leverage the success of the Wemix dollar and expand the stablecoin horizontally. Wemix Euro, Wemix Won, Wemix Singapore dollar, and others will follow. This will become a stablecoin that perfectly corresponds to the stablecoin regulations by the financial authorities in the developed countries. If I meet the president of El Salvador, Nayib Bukele, I recommend him make an El Salvador coin and an El Salvador stable coin. Just like how gold can can't be used right away for payment, using Bitcoin as a payment method is completely nonsense. This applies to other native coins as well. Good stable coins are bound to become the key currency. I think I've told you everything I have to say. I changed the topic of my speech multiple times because there's been so many changes in the market, in the blockchain scene, and in Wemix recently. But the fact that valuable and sustainable things eventually succeed. We developed Wemix3.0 with this in mind and made every effort to develop a stablecoin Wemix that is necessary for the digital blockchain economy. Wemix will become a new history of stablecoin, and that history will be the cornerstone of the digital blockchain economy. I wish you all the best of luck, and I wish we would all survive and meet again next year. Thank you all very much.